My name is Mark Raben, I work for SAP, I'm the CTO. And I'm working with customers and university actually on that level. So what does technology mean for you? And can we actually use technology to create some advantages for you as a company? That's what I do in my daily life. So what I will do, I will talk about the impact of technology. And let's start with a very concrete example, like the technology autonomous driving. And those new technologies, they have actually a nice side, because if there's autonomous driving, I can step into my car and I don't have to drive anymore. So it probably makes me much more productive and efficient, because I can continue working while my car is driving me to the office. That's a direct impact technology has, but it also has another impact. Because if I arrive with my car at the office, would I park it over there? I don't think so. What I would do, because I have an autonomous driving car, I would send it back into the city and make sure I earn some money with my car. Yeah, because he can act as a taxi, yeah, without having a driver. So autonomous driving will have impact on my efficiency, but also that I can create new way of creating some income from my car. So it will change business models, so to say. But there's also other side if you look at technology, and that's like, what's the impact on people's life? So if you're a truck driver, and we have that technology in trucks, yeah, we don't need truck drivers anymore because the trucks drive themselves. What will happen with the restaurants close to the highway? If there are no truck drivers, there are no customers for those restaurants. So it also has a complete different impact. And that's the different way how you can look at technology. Yeah? So you can look at it like, okay, it will bring us a lot of things, like working more efficient, creating new revenue. But at the same hand, it's like, okay, are we still relevant for the future? Could that technology also, what we always say, disrupt us for the future? So what you see, what has all this technology in common? I call that three-dimensional. All the technology that we see nowadays, it's very real time, so it happens in the moment. It's responsive, it will tell you what to do, it will advise you what to do, and it's intelligent. As you see in this picture, you see me lying on the beach with a robot, and the robot is learning, we call it machine learning. So it's not that the robot has all the knowledge and can do everything from the start, but it will learn from me and will get better over time. So that's actually the technology that we apply within business. And there are two ways of looking at the impact. As Knut Hannes in his TED Talk mentioned, there are two ways a company should do, and they should balance. And there are different ways how technology can impact your business. On the one hand side is what he called exploitation. So technology will help you to do things faster, to be more productive, to be more efficient. But very often it's a very internal and short-term focus. On the other hand side, the technology can help you to stay relevant for the future and make sure you innovate and digitize some of your products and services. So if I go back to the example I gave around autonomous driving, the autonomous driving at itself will have an impact on both sides. One, it will make me more efficient and productive because I can do other things while I'm driving in my car. But at the same time, we can look at relevance, because it can help me to create additional income by sending the car back to the city and earn some money for me as a taxi. And at the same time, it will have an impact of the relevance of truck drivers, because maybe in the future they are not that relevant anymore. Let's take a look at some examples around exploitation and what the impact of technology is there. Let me do a short test, because I already mentioned the three dimensions: real-time, responsive, and intelligent. What do we mean with real-time? It's not only having real-time access to data, but really build intelligence real-time out of data. So if you can real-time structure data, you have directly insight into what is going on. And I have a very simple test to illustrate that. So what you have to do is to count the red dots that you see on the screen. And I'll give you 2 seconds to do that. How many dots did you see? It's not easy, isn't it? It's very difficult to count them. And if I normally do that for the audience, there are not a lot of people who can give the right number. They can only guess. Now let's do the test again. So you get a second chance. Again, 2 seconds. We do exactly the same test. Count the red dots on the screen. This is much easier, isn't it? Because the data was now structured and categorized, you will see directly, oh, there are 30 dots, 6 times 5, because we structured it. And this is the simple principle that we use within business, and this is the intelligence that we put on top of the data that we collect in all of our systems. Now bring that back to business. What does that mean for a boardroom? I call that the 3-dimensional boardroom. What you see over here, this is a modern boardroom, where actually the managers within the boardroom have access to all the data. And it's not just a report what you see here, but it's interactive. So they can ask any question at any moment, because the system real-time can give them an answer and categorize the data real-time. So in a board meeting, if you have an issue or you have a discussion, you can directly go into the facts and go into all the details. And there's nobody who will have to prepare all the data up front before you can have that discussion in your boardroom. You can do it instantly, you can do it real time. Another example is because we have all the data and we can structure and we can build intelligence around it, we can have a different way how we can communicate with applications. For example, you all know Alexa from Amazon or Siri from Apple. Within SAP, we have developed Copilot. And Copilot is a virtual assistant, it's a digital assistant. And you can just talk to your logistical system or to your marketing system, and it will understand your question and will give you an answer. For example, here you see on my iPhone, I get an alert that one of the projects that I'm managing, the cost of that one are above the threshold. And this is what I mean with responsive. So the application wants me that I have to take a look at it. I could do it the traditional way and take a look at some graphs, but with Copilot you can just ask the question. So Copilot, what's going on with these project costs? And you see instantly I get an answer from Copilot. So it understands where I'm looking for, and it will give me the graph with all the details around how the project cost evolved over time. So because we have that data, we have the intelligence, it's responsive, the system is actually helping me to focus on the right things and to make the right decisions. And I can just talk to it as I would do with a normal people. So now you have seen 2 examples how smart technology, which is real-time responsive and intelligent, can help companies to be more productive and more efficient. For example, in the boardroom, but also, for example, to manage their project cost. Now go back to the 2 levels, exploitation and exploration. We already talked about exploitation, now we're going to talk about exploration. So how do you make sure that you use technology to stay relevant for the future? There are a lot of companies that actually argue with me and say, okay, but digital transformation has no impact on our business. Here you see an example of, for example, paint. This is not a real product right now, but it's a potential product that could come to market in the future. It's developed by the Technical University in Eindhoven, and what they have done is they put nanoparticles in paint. And what you actually can do is that you can paint all your walls completely white, and afterwards you can give it a color, because you can change the reflection of the nanoparticles in your paint. So what I want to say with this example is that digitizing products will hit every industry, also if you are producing paint. Because what does it mean? You can have a factory which is very efficient and you produce hundreds of colors of paint, and somebody comes to market with this paint. Yeah? Then having that factory is not really relevant anymore with all those colors. You only need one type of paint. So it will have a big impact on that business. So it counts for every industry. We have an innovation platform that our companies actually use to make it concrete. Because if you have a smart idea that can be used to stay relevant for the future, it's important to make it real. Start from the idea, start incubating them, make prototypes, make mock-ups. And we have a platform to do that. You can use machine learning, blockchain, data intelligence, Internet of Things, big data, actually to build your first prototypes and later on go into production with those. Let me give you some examples. Roche, for example, in healthcare. What Roche is actually doing is Roche is delivering strips to measure the blood sugar for diabetes patients. It's what you see here. The strip, you put it in a device and you put blood under the strip and you have your blood sugar measurement. And they thought about, okay, what is actually our business? Is that the blood strips? Or is that making sure that we improve the quality of life of diabetes patients? And if you think about that, if that's where you're aiming for, you have to do a lot of other things, but just measuring the blood sugar is not enough. Because we know that quality of life is very much depending on how people behave during the day and a lot of other things than just the blood sugar. So what we have done with them together is we developed a whole package that they now deliver to their patients. And it's not just the blood strips, it also includes an activity tracker. For example, to measure the blood sugar in function of how people behave during the day. It includes a blood pressure meter. So with that, and with, for example, an app, the patient itself can actually measure their blood sugar in function of what they are doing during the day. And this is not only for the patient itself, also the doctor has a portal, and via that portal they can monitor all their patients and see what's going on. Yeah? And if there's one of the patients where the measurements are outside the range where they should be, they can plan an appointment with that specific patient. Yeah? And because they have all that data and they know exactly what the best advice is, they can have a talk with that patient and advise them what to do different and to make sure that they really have a good life despite the fact that they are diabetes patients. So what you see here is that what Roche did is actually they offered additional digital products, yeah, to have a much better solution for their patient than just delivering the blood strips. Yeah? And that's what we call digital transformation. Another example is a company who's a wholesale in potatoes. Yeah? So what they actually do is that they buy potatoes from growers and they package them and then deliver them to big retail stores. And they invested a lot in technology due to legislation to make sure that they always know where a specific potato is coming from which grower. So there's a lot of legislation that they have to make sure that they know what is happening in their whole chain. So they spend a lot of money on that one. And there was a smart guy who thought, okay, maybe we can also use that data to inform consumers where potatoes are coming from. So what they have done, actually, they have a code on the packaging of their potato in the store. So what a consumer can do, it can actually scan the code on the package, and on its phone it will get information where the potato is coming from. So what they have done on the left-hand side, exploitation, to make that whole process of capturing data in the chain very efficient. At the same time, they used it to stay relevant for the future, because their package contains much more information than it did before, by leveraging the data they already had. So these are some examples what the impact of technology can have. So it has an impact on exploitation, doing things faster, more efficient, more productive. And at the same time, you can use technology to make sure you stay relevant for the future with new products and new digital services. I call this the yin and yang from innovation. And the reason why, and that's also mentioned in the TED Talk I just referred to from Knut, is that you can't do just one side of the thing. So you can't say only focus on doing things very efficient and very productive, because there might be a chance that that's not relevant for the future anymore. So you also have to focus on exploration and making sure that you stay relevant for the future. And that's exactly what yin and yang is saying. It looks maybe like opposites, exploitation and exploration, but they are not opposites. Like in yin and yang, you talk about Warm and cold and high and low look like opposites, but actually they are the same things. They are different sides of the same metal. For example, hot and cold is the same thing, it's temperature. And that also counts for exploration and exploitation. They are the same metal of innovation, and you have to balance both of them. So now I've talked you through the impact of technology. If you're interested in what technology can mean for you as a person, or what the impact of technology can be for your business, connect with me on LinkedIn, Mark Raben, SAP.